Hi, this is Mark Mollenkoff of the FreshTrak team. In this video, we're going to set up a new partner agency on FreshTrak service, formerly known as PantryTrak. We'll log in as a system admin. In this case, a regular user would be logging in as using their food bank administrator logins. Again, agencies on the system are set up by the food banks that use the platform. I'm logged in with those credentials, and now I'm going to just go create a new agency. We have our old legacy screens, but as we transition, we're going to give the users the option to use the new modernized screens, and we'll do that for this case. We're going to add our new agency. I've got their information right here off their application that they submitted to the food bank. In this case, we're adding Zoco Cares Social Services Worldwide Inc. Boy, that's a mouthful. We will, in our system, refer to them as Zoco Cares. And we have their address. 1027 West 5th Avenue, and their zip code is 43212. When we populate the zip code, it'll bring over the city, the state, and the county. Later on, the system will geocode this address and pull up the zip +4 as well as the latitude, longitude. The generic email for this agency, or the person at the agency that's responsible for all operations, I have their email here, alex@zococares. Oh, it's not .com, it's a .org. And their website is zococares.org. It's not critical to have these filled in, but it is just useful to help food bankers who would see this information. Again, this is not information that is shown to customers, and not even information that is shown to volunteers at this particular agency. This is the private information that the food bank records about this agency. We have their phone number. From their application, I see that their fiscal year actually begins in July, and they did provide us a mission statement, so we will put that in here in our notes field. Again, this is not critical, but this is something that the food bankers would use in their work, so we've dropped in their mission statement. Zoco is the food pantry and social care studio for customer-centric communities, yada, yada, yada. Okay, sounds good. And we'll continue. The next thing that we're going to set up is the location where the services happen. So the first entry was for the organization. This is easily thought of as who is the 501c3 holder, the charitable entity. Which food bank are they associated with? And in this case, we are going to associate them with the demo food bank, but if we were setting them up on behalf of another food bank, we could pick that from the list, but because this food banker user here at the demo system is logged in against the demo food bank, it defaults to that. Each food bank has their own unique ID for an agency, and in this case, from the NetSuite system that this agency or this food bank uses, their agency number is A456Q. And what type of location is this that we're setting up? It is a food pantry. Because we need to know what type of electronic signature form is used, we see the default forms that are associated with this food bank, and we will pick the Ohio Job and Family Services form, and we will turn on electronic signatures. We will not be turning on the agency data. That's another feature that we can describe later, but is not something used by most food banks. This agency does schedule their work in 30-minute blocks and prefers to see their work in 30-minute blocks, so we will set that to just make it a little cleaner on the screens for them. And then we have asked them, who do they serve? And they said, well, we serve anyone in Central Ohio. We pulled in the search part of the zip codes for their area by taking their zip code and taking the first three, because these first three represent the geographic search area. Obviously, any food banker that is setting up an agency will have been well trained in this, but for this example, we do provide and a little reminder. So this agency is set up, and this food bank is set up to serve Ohio, and in this case, the map of the zip 3 search zones, 432 being generally the Columbus metropolitan area, 430 being around it, and 431 also contiguous to it. So we're going to go ahead and set this agency up for all three of those, and as indicated here, we're just going to put these in with the pipe symbol. Food bankers again are trained on this and have been since the beginning of time. We'll continue. Now we set up the actual event. So this is the thing that the pantry or this agency does, at which the service is transferred and rendered to the people being served. In this case, they call their food pantry the Zoco Cares Pantry. For the purposes of shorter menu names, we're just going to call this Z Pantry. And the type of service is that it's a food pantry. And we're going to pick the type of services that are provisioned at this agency when the customer comes and gets served. We have the most frequent ones that are used by this food bank itself, and we have our list of other options, over 188 different types of services that can be rendered to the customers. In this case, from the application, the applicants have said they are going to run a 5-day choice pantry, meaning they'll supply a 5-day supply of food in a choice pantry. They've provided their schedule, and so we're going to add that to the system here. And they have said that they are open on the 3rd Saturday. Let me scroll this up a little bit. They're open on the 3rd Saturday, and they open at 9:30 a.m. and they end at 12:15. They've also said that they do have another pantry that they do every month. Oh, in fact, it says here they do it every week. So they do it on every Wednesday from 3:15 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. These recurring schedules will get used in other places in the system, including if this agency chooses to be listed on the FreshTrak public locator system. This will generate each month the exact date records for every 3rd Saturday of the year and every Wednesday of the year. Now we need to set up users for this account, and for this purpose I'm just going to scroll the screen size down just a little bit. All right, the executive director, their name is Alex, and let me make sure I spell it right. All right. Alex DeMilto. And Alex on their application has said Executive Director. Their email that they have listed, like many users and many people who run food pantries, they have a real day job, and so this person's email differs from their entity email. They use their personal or business email, so we'll put their email there, and they've indicated that that's what they want to use as their username, so we'll just copy that over, use that as their username. Password, we will just generate a secure password for this user, and we have this quick generator that will go from an 8-character all the way to a 16-character highly secure password. Let's just pick 11 since we haven't used that before. It'll generate, and if we don't like the look of one or it has too many repeating characters, again, these are randomly generated. And let's go with, this one looks good. So we'll use this password. Now, just a note, we will at the end of this process be reminded what this random password is, so we can make sure that we send it to the user and send it in a secure way. And again, we'll be reminded of that here shortly. They'll get the regular pantry menu, and they are a director level. This is a personal level account. In other words, it's a named user, not an account that is shared. And for purposes of this demo, we're going to say that this manager or person does not have the ability to sign the EULA or the end user license agreement to use the FreshTrak service platform. We'll come back to that at a later time. Always, 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 we do not want the manager or director level accounts used to do intake for neighbors because it has access to highly sensitive information. So we always set up a volunteer user, and in this case we're going to set up our volunteer user, and it'll be Z volunteer, and we'll just give their title as volunteer as well. These volunteers don't have an email because this is a generic account, but we will call this VOL1 at Zoco Cares, and that will tell us if that username is available. It is. Again, we will generate a password for this user account, and just for the fun of it, we'll make it a 9-character password. Again, this is one that gets shared because this login is shared by a number of users who come in. Now, typically, it's not necessarily given to the volunteers, but oftentimes in practice it's saved in a browser, but we still do want that to be secure. So we are going to put this random one in. We'll generate another one. There we go. That looks like a decent one. It's a mix of numbers, letters, characters, and we'll use this one. It'll copy it into the password field. Again, they get the pantry menu, and in this particular setup, there is only the option for the pantry menu. In other setups, there would be the option for reporting tools, like stats reporting, but not having the ability to serve neighbors directly or look up neighbors. And there are other logins where it could be a case manager style login, where they have broader access and different menus and a completely different menu system and look and feel. But in this case, this is for volunteer, and we'll continue and review our setup. And it's going to remind us about the passwords. We're setting up our users. Let me just expand the screen size here just 1 second. And we're ready to confirm the information. We could also go back and edit anything that we needed to. And once that's done, we will be ready to create this agency. Let me put the screen back to normal size. Again, we're looking at, as a food banker, we're reviewing that we set this up correctly. So which customers get searched? Where is the agency located? Where do the services get provided? What service gets provided? What recurring schedule is used? And what do the details look like? We're going to create the agency. And now we've created the agency. It's given us some information that we as the food banker are looking at to confirm how we set this up. And again, this opportunity to record the credentials. We have one opportunity to see this. This is the last and only time that these can be viewed. We could see them individually and copy them, or we have the opportunity to copy all the credentials and we can paste those over into an appropriate tool. In this case, I'll put them into my Bitwarden, and we'll use the Bitwarden send. We provide some information to try to steer food bank users in the right way. Please do not send email with passwords included in the emails. Use tools like Bitwarden send, 1Password, or other similar tools. We remind the food banker that there are next steps that they will need to do, like uploading pictures of the agency, sharing the credentials with the food pantry itself, scheduling training with the agency, over time reviewing their search zones to make sure that they're finding the customers that they're looking for in their area, setting up their schedules and capacity if they are going to be listed on FreshTrak, adding other events to this agency, even adding secondary service buttons that are in essence one-click buttons, and then certainly the option to add additional users over time. We can go to the agency edit screen as a food banker just to confirm that we have set the agency up completely. We see that we have the loc, its org details, we have the event, in this case just one, but if there were multiple, if we wanted to add those additional events, we would do it right here. The users, again, just 2 users. Nowhere in this process do we get to see the password, but new passwords could be reset. We could turn an user inactive if we needed to turn off a user account, or make a new make them active again. We have other settings for serving customers. What areas and what states are we searching in? This agency is only an Ohio agency, so it helps to narrow the details even further from just the zip code search areas. There's our 30-minute interval, and electronic signatures are turned on. There are other settings for intra-system referrals and other agency options, and certainly then service history, but this agency doesn't have any history since they are just now set up, and other features that can get turned on for this agency. That completes our process. We'll go back to the main menu as the food banker and log out, and we are done with this part of the setup.